Honkai Star Rail has a power creep problem only if you allow it to happen either by greed or stupidity. But you refuse to accept the reality that you were greedy, you were stupid, or you were both. Very likely, you're probably both. Maybe don't participate in like a meta discussion while you're pulling with your dick. That you were greedy, you were stupid, or you were both. 20 steps ahead. I have charged my out 20 billion years old, and I have a counter for this, right? I still have yet to come across a single discussion where they could convince me to change my mind. Honkai Star Rail has a power creep problem only if you allow it to happen either by greed or stupidity.
Yeah.
Change my mind.
All right.
This is the second most viewed tweet in my entire life. Second to the QQ man. Insane, right? 500,000 overviews and counting, and that were a lot of people. I think almost every single Honky Starbucks content creator started to jump on me. My own family, my own brothers and sisters.
Hey man, if we in the HSR community catch you kind of slipping up, falling off the deep end, we're just trying to set you back into reality. But let's continue.
Started to jump on me because they lack the reading comprehension, right?
Okay, so that's one way to look at it.
Box 2, the infamous Honky Starbucks expert. Nah, bro, Honkai Star Rail has a power creep problem, and you can't just not allow it to happen. You can make smarter pools, but that doesn't solve the power creep. It just makes it slightly less bad. You're not taking into account people with shit luck. Like, what if it takes me max 180 pools to get a new credit here and there? Blah,
I agree with most of this.
And of course, people are saying like, hey, and this kind of stuff. So that's gonna be one example. We have some gooners here and there. We have Gacha Smack. Uncle Smack himself. I would love for you and me to sit down and take a good long gander at every single band that ever released in Honkai Star Rail along their context, and then you walk me through this 5,000 IQ stage of the 6-pass strategy of avoiding the power creep problem with only battle/monthly pass purchases. Don't even care about the free to plays. The banner aggression paired with resource acquisition and 50/50 is simply too abysmal, regardless of horizontal and vertical pathing plans inside. You have videos on your channel that have aged my mildew to power creep, as I'm sure all of us do, and this is an exemplary corporate slop glopping, but I still love you, man. Right? So there's gonna be another one, and then I kind of scroll down this a little bit aside from all the people sending me dev threads. Or we have a Captain Cabinets. What is bro waffling?
Oh my god!
You can kind of read all that. I'm not gonna read all that yet, but feel free to take a look at it.
I'm not gonna read all that. Yeah.
Tweeted me, but bro just started instigating war for fun, and alongside with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of creators basically saying I should basically kill myself. Right? How dare I say this?
Nah, I don't think it's going that far.
Luckily for you guys, I'm an Eastern CC. I don't go into an argument without doing my due diligence. I wouldn't make out a tweet like this without having the preparations beforehand. So unfortunately, you are all basically at like 10 HP. And I am the Yasuo about to cast Hoseki and So to first understand what the hell is going on with this tweet, majority of Twitter took great offense to my statement.
The thing is that I already have a feeling where he's going. And I'm already 100% ready to tackle this. So let's continue.
Saying that I'm unrelatable, right? I'm a shell, I'm a whale, right? People have no pool, schizo, kill myself the whole night. Luckily for us, I'm chilling, right? I know Tecton already made a video talking about this briefly, but I will just be explaining my point today. This is gonna be a pretty long-ass video. I have prepared extensively for this video that's about to come up, which is Honkai Star Rail has a power creep problem only if you allow it to happen either by greed or stupidity. Now that I've said the sentence, I need you guys right now to pause this video, stop scrolling through your phone, stop staring at Firefly's tits, just stare at this sentence for 5 seconds and really let this simmer down and understand what the hell I'm trying to say. Okay, now that you have read this sentence, you have constructed your thoughts, hopefully you understood a little bit better. The first part of this video, explaining my statement. Literally in the first 5 words. Verbatim.
I say that.
Honkai Star Rail has a power creep problem.
Yeah.
Verbatim. So yes, I 100% acknowledge there is a power creep problem in Honkai Star Rail. So that already removes half the retards that think that.
Alright. So if we were going to argue semantics, you said, I know what he's trying to say, but I'm going to argue semantics since he's trying to argue semantics. Or at least alluding to semantics. HSR has a power creep problem only if you allow it to happen.
So what that sentence states
Is the power creep problem
only comes about when you facilitate it in a way that makes it a problem.
That is what that sentence alludes to. Now, what MrPokke is saying,
And this is me being generous and giving him the benefit of the doubt,
because I know,
if I recall correctly, English isn't his first language.
but what he's trying to say is that it
Has a problem, but it's worse when you allow it to happen. That is what he is trying to say. But he's still high off his rocker and detached from reality, even when I'm being generous and helping explain his sentence.
I feel there's no power creep. If you're offended by that, I'm sorry. Maybe try reading better, right? I'm not talking specifically about VXV or like Tectone or for making these like clickbait titles. Even though fuck y'all, because y'all both know I need to, kill these about the bitches that come to my channel thinking I said shit like Honkai Star Rail has no power creep, right? I'm more specifically talking about the people that got baited by these lies. Verbatim from Wikipedia. Power creep noun. The situation where successive updates or expansions to a game introduces more powerful units or abilities, leaving the older ones underpowered.
Correct.
Honkai Star Rail, as with every single gacha game in the goddamn market, will
Yep.
always have power creep. And the only people saying that it doesn't are their glazers, right? We have
Okay, now, MrPokke,
And for all of you that are watching me right now,
this is where my age and my experience being in the gaming sphere
since I was 5 years old, as a 33-year-old man,
comes into
play.
power creep is not only something that is very, very
Prevalent in the gacha game sphere. In fact, it is actually extremely noticeable and extremely a problem in the gacha game sphere. But power creep also exists in many types of games, whether it be video games or one of my very first experiences noticing power creep is in card games like Yu-Gi-Oh! In fact, I mean specifically Yu-Gi-Oh! But the thing about power creep is that it's always going to be an underlining issue. But what helps and what a lot of game devs do, whether they be in the game development for video games or be in the trading card business, is that they do their best to mitigate power creep. And this is where I'm going to really tackle MrPokke, is with balance. In the trading card, when it comes to Yu-Gi-Oh! In fact, and I think a lot of other card games do this too, but I'm speaking specifically about Yu-Gi-Oh! Since that's my favorite card game, is they will release cards that help kind of lift up archetypes that have been underutilized or borderline forgotten. Now, will those cards kind of make a world of difference? Usually not. But what they at least do is give them a way to be able to challenge and compete. Maybe not at a tier 1 or tier 0 level, but at least being able to compete.
Scylla's ultimate, right? I literally pulled up right here. I came prepared. We have Scylla's ultimate dealing 425% of the base multiplier compared to a couple of versions later, face out almost doubling of that. Alright,
Yep.
This is the most egregious example of a straight up raw damage number multiplier power creep. We have Sparkle. She was great, right? Skill points, action very advanced, and then 4 patches later, it came out with Barbin and Sunday. Completely basically wiping her off the face of the planet. Lingsha nowadays literally deals more super damage than Firefly in a 5-target scenario. Acheron with or without Jiaozhou nowadays is basically like a completely different unit compared to start. And don't even get me started on the HP inflation, which I have made 4 separate videos specifically addressing this HP inflation thing, right? Nobody is denying its existence. And literally last time, if you guys want to remember what happened in Memory of Chaos, the very, very first Memory of Chaos, the very, very first Memory of Chaos back then, it literally took us, you could 3-star in 20 cycles. Alongside with the ridiculous amount of multipliers that we have seen for the HP going up and up and up and up and up and up.
And
even this MOC just highlights it even more, because one side of MOC 12 is borderline the same enemies. Only difference is 2 things. We took out the robot that summons the fishies with a Bellabog witch, and 2, they added in these little numbies that blow up and do a lot of damage. But there is one other big difference, and that is these enemies, again, are essentially the same, have more HP than last rotations. It's basically like HSR said, hey, we really want you to notice that HP inflation. So here's our little signed note right to you saying, yeah, we're doing that.
If anything, Honkai Star Rail has a much bigger power creep than the other big gachas.
I agree.
Because team building is and always will be the most important aspect of a turn-based game, specifically Honkai Star Rail, right? You basically have a basic skill, ultimate talent. Okay, sometimes you give the technique. There's no such thing as perfect parry. There's no such thing as perfect dodge. If you want to run a sustainless team in Honkai Star Rail, then you better damn well kill the target, because you can't dodge around like in Genshin or Wuthering Waves, right? The outcome of the battle, it would have more or less been already determined in the team building phase, right? You can't fucking do like what QT, timing, right? Sword back, negative edge, aerial combat, Kara cancel. None of that is in Honkai Star Rail. So the actual units themselves, they are a lot more significant compared to all these gacha games where there's a lot more degree of freedom for players to express their skills. It is quite literally skills, right? And for the input within the endgame content, like in Memory of Chaos or whatever, it doesn't matter as much as team building. Yes, it matters, because sometimes you see like people just running it down like in PvP or whatever, but it matters less compared to the casuals. Compared to team building, which is why casuals, they love Super Break. They love Firefly, they love Super Break, because you press the fun button and the team just plays by itself, right? But that is a completely different point. My basic gist is you cannot outskill and dodge an incoming attack, right? You can't animation cancel to increase your DPS. And every single unit within Honkai Star Rail, they will have a more impact compared to all these other games. If a unit has a stronger multiplier, right? If they have straight up a stronger multiplier, if they have more synergy because of their kit, if they have a better team as a whole, they are going to be stronger, period. So once again, verbatim, for people that are fucking blind, I agree that Honkai Star Rail power creep exists, right?
Okay.
This is not a riddle. This is not solve this puzzle. This is quite literally verbatim exactly what I said, right? There's nothing to decipher here. So it is quite shocking to me that there are people trying to misconstrue my points within the first, not even fight, the first.
Again, MrPokke, it's more so easily for people to misunderstand your sentence because it's not structured properly. But again,
for anyone who is watching this,
I am being generous
and definitely saying MrPokke is saying there is a power creep problem, but it is made worse if you allow it to become more of a problem. That is what MrPokke was trying to say.
Forwards. It is a little bit ridiculous. So now with that out of the way, if you still think that I've said something that
even his chat is calling him out for that.
We can move on, right? But I think at this point on the video, it would have already filtered out half the people that doesn't know what the hell I'm saying.
Exactly. Even his chat saying only if, and then someone said you need to make it clear.
This is the one that is supposed to be more thought-provoking, right? Specifically, I want this to encourage discussions, try to change my order. Honkai Star Rail has a power creep problem only if you allow it to happen, either by greed or stupidity. Now, the keyword over here, in case you guys just don't understand English, as an Eastern CC, I'm educate y'all. This allow it to happen is not referring to allowing power creep to happen. It's allowing the problem of power creep to your account. Power creep is gonna happen.
Okay, there we go.
Right? All it takes for a developer is just release a better. Big Herda is a fucking 900% multiplier on the enhanced skill nowadays. You can't let power creep happen because that's on the devs. But whether or not it's a problem on your account, now that's something that you allowed to happen. And no.
All right, and this is where MrPokke is just based on that sentence is gonna fall apart. Because the thing is, up until this point, I was pretty much on board with what most MrPokke is saying. But I think right here, when we get into the devil in the details, in this part, I think is where MrPokke is gonna fall apart. All right, so he is saying that if you allow power creep, the power creep problem that is, to make itself more abundantly clear on your account, then that's your fault. And the thing is, that is true to a degree. For example, if you go to a restaurant and you order a cheeseburger, and the dude who made the cheeseburger right in front of your face decides for whatever reason to put some poison on that cheeseburger, and then in front of your eyes, he knows you watched him do it, and then he puts it in the box, hands it to you. The question then becomes, if you choose to eat that cheeseburger, is it your problem? And the answer to that question is, well, because you saw him do it, then at that point, yeah, it's kind of your fault for eating the cheeseburger. But the thing is, the guy still put the poison on the cheeseburger. That is a problem. It is a problem because you have someone in that restaurant putting poison on cheeseburgers. Yeah, you're stupid for eating the cheeseburger, but we still can't have a guy in a restaurant putting poison on cheeseburgers. So, with that being said, to basically get back to the point he's making, power creep is a problem that the devs have allowed to basically run rampant, and that is a problem. But he is saying that because stupid people basically fucking up their accounts if they're free to play or light spenders and making poor decisions with their accounts when it comes to making wise decisions on who to pull for, yes, if they are making stupid decisions for their account. But the thing is that the problem, the power creep problem, still persists. Now, with that laid out, let us continue.
It is not by swiping. It is not that you can solve this problem with the power of wallet, right? Because if this was the case, there wouldn't be a single free-to-play player left playing Honkai Star Rail. There wouldn't be a single free-to-play player left that can clear all 3 endgame content with 3 stars for everything for the past, I think at this point we have like 16 patches, right? And yet, we still consistently see these free-to-play accounts, different free-to-play accounts, getting full star clears, sometimes even going for 0 cycles. So why is this the case then? Does anyone want to make a guess? I'll be honest, right? This point, like I mentioned at the start of the video, I definitely phrased it a little bit more provocatively, right? As pointed out by Fob Master, I'm guessing specifically this final word, stupidity, it is one of 2 things. You are not smart. You are not smart. You are getting defensive because your account is bricked, but you refuse to accept the reality that you were greedy, you were stupid, or you were both. Very likely, you're probably both. Or, the other hand is, you feel that you are smart, but you're just a little bit too sensitive on the internet to be offended by the word stupidity, right? So to that, I would say grass is right outside, right? Just walk out the door, touch it, and then we can move on with life, and we can all be very, very happy. So,
bro is basically just begging for war
at this point. He's just absolutely begging for war.
We will now get into our main argument. Greed and stupidity. Now, first of all, I'm not immune to this. Nobody in the gachaverse that plays gacha games, they are immune to this. right? We see the latest waifu, right? We look at them, the story building, right? The art, the animations, the lore, the yabe stuff. On top of Honkai Star Rail, I'm just going to be talking about Honkai Star Rail for here. They artificially upsell the banners that are on release. Right now, Memory of Chaos, Epoch Shadows, Pure Fusion, all 3 endgame modes, they are tailored to a 5 target scenario with the Trotters dealing AoE effect, right? It is artificially designed to upsell the Herta, right?
Yep.
To make these endgame content.
It's right now definitely leaning toward erudition characters. The Herta being a character that's going to be coming out
really soon with the 3.0 launch is going to be basically loving every bit of it.
If you pulled for Rappa recently,
Rappa is going to be definitely benefiting from it due to the fact that she's an erudition path character. So
100%. So far, we're good.
Easier if you were to pull for this brand new limited 5-star, right? So combining this with like the whole lore and the mindset of a gacha player, like how can you skip Firefly when she literally died for you in the story and then she came back and she wants to be your girlfriend? There's no you're skipping Firefly, right? Even though if your account just put for Robin, you just put for Boo Hill, but oh my god, it's Firefly. I need her now, right? So unfortunately, the hardest choice requires the strongest of wills in the gacha game. Every single gacha player knows that a gacha game is predatory, right? We don't have to convince anyone else that it's not. There isn't a single gacha game in the current market that is not predatory. So, I put up this tweet, right? And there were a lot of people that were replying to this tweet. At the start, I was kind of entertaining some of them. This was one example. One of the many 100 examples. So there's this guy right here, not NCG. This Katarina no Kami. So bro basically made a point of literally getting almost every support character. He says that with his eyes open because he literally skipped Robin. And now my account don't do damage because I can't keep up with the 930,363 character banners.
Okay.
So I called him out. Because he attached this screenshot right here. He has Fugue, Lingsha, Argenti, Rame, Ratio, Black Swan, Aircron, Jade, a couple of the standard characters here and there. So I said this. He pulled for units like Argenti and Jade. And then he skipped Robin, Jiao Qiu, and Sunday.
Yeah.
He proceeds to say that he lost every single 50-50 ever since the first Jingliu banner. But somehow, he still manages to get his hand on Argenti, Black Swan. Both of these units coming before Robin.
I would honestly say that in this instance,
it definitely helps with the one of the points that
MrPokke is trying to explain.
And that is 100%. This is a case of a person
who definitely did not spend their jades wisely.
So this is the thing.
When it comes to this point that MrPokke is trying to explain, which is sometimes it can be the fault of the player for not spending their jades wisely. That is true. Yeah, if you don't spend your jades wisely, you could potentially screw yourself. But this does not save MrPokke from the point that I've already briefly touched on, and what I'm definitely going to touch on later when the appropriate time presents itself.
And he decides to also pull for Jade. So this is a classic example of a waifu chaser that wanted to chase for their waifu, chase for the husbandos, and then at the same time they feel that, oh shit, why am I not clearing content? So he replied to me, right? Argenti is cool.
Yep.
Is underappreciated AF.
Nope.
Black Swan. My account back then was DOT based with Kafka.
Okay.
We all had DOT account. Sure. Jade is mommy. And one of my strongest team is a elation one.
God. I get what he's saying, though. So, all right. Yes, he pulled on Argenti because he's cool.
Therefore, he didn't pull for Argenti based on meta reasons.
And Black Swan, I think he gets a pass on Black Swan. He said he has Kafka, and he is right. A lot of people did invest in Dot.
We just didn't know that Dot was going to get kind of left in the shadows in the abyss.
So
I'll give him a pass on Black Swan.
Now, the moment I see bro classifies his team as being shown being elation, he probably does not even play any of the endgame. He's probably literally playing Simulated Universe, right? So I said something like this. Maybe don't participate in like a meta discussion while you're pulling with your dick. And bro got so embarrassed that he unfortunately deleted everything, and he actually approached me in the DMs apologizing and saying that, okay, I'm sorry, I was being a retard and I just want to have a civil discussion. I'm like, you know what? Fine. He apologized. All is love, peace, and happiness. I'm not trying to single bro out specifically, right? Definitely not, right? I don't even know who he is. I have nothing against him. He's not very iconic. He is a random chatter. But it proves to show my point, which is a lot of these so-called waifu chasers, right? These waifu chasers, they are in the mindset where they think they can pull all these units and suddenly they have a, oh my god, surprise Pikachu, why the fuck am I not dealing any damage? So this could be one of the reasons why so many people are triggered by me simply speaking facts. Albeit it is a little bit more blunt, right? It probably hurt his feelings a little bit when I said, why would you pull Argenti and Jade and then you skip Robin? And then he thinks that I hate Argenti or Jade, right? So maybe I hurt his feelings a little bit, but I have a feeling this is not a minority of the player base.
And this is what MrPokke is going to say. I already know it. Because the thing is, he's arguing a point that I agree with.
There is a different point that he's completely missing.
Again, he's arguing a point that I think anyone can agree with. If you spend your Jades wisely on your account, you will be fine to an extent, depending on if you get lucky or not. There's always RNG involved. But if you spend your Jades wisely and spend based on what your account needs, you should be able to do all right when it comes to your account. But that is not the point. Like, it's only a way to dodge around the bigger problem.
Every single time a new banner comes out, they get greedy. I want to pull this, I want to pull Yunli, I want to pull Bull, I want to pull Firefly, I want to pull everything. And then they realize they run out of pulls. And then the buff expires. Who knows next time toughness locks come to our enemy, Super Break can't be a thing anymore. Who knows what's going to happen? And then they look back at their account like, oh shit, where did all my pulls go?
Okay, yeah.
Why are all these DOT players clearing that endgame easier than me? Wait, I invested in Aircron. How are these DOT players clearing faster than me with an Aircron? I didn't have enough pulls for Jiao Qiu, and I...
Again, arguing a point that is unrelated to the bigger point that he's missing. Yes,
if I am a player that's just going to completely, and this goes back to what I was saying in my tweet, you can clear newer content with older characters if you overinvest. Getting Eidolons for those older characters is a form of overinvesting. Like I said with my Tectone example, Tectone overinvested in Dot to make sure his Dot characters, in this case Black Swan, was still able to perform comparable to newer characters. So again, same point. Yes, if you overinvest and double down to make sure your current roster is able to beat this content, then you are going to meet those demands. You're going to have to, again, overinvest to do it, but you will get it done.
All these, the Honkai Star is releasing way too many banners. I cannot think, I cannot decide for myself. I'm confused, schizo, oh my god, save me, who do I... There is just way too many units. What am I gonna do? So, if you were to not invest in the old units, for example, if you're a DOT mate and you choose to give up DOT, this is an objectively true statement, but also only kind of partially. The reason why I say it's only partially because, you know, you need to keep replacing so many units when units come out. is because if you really think about it, the only units that you will replace in a team are probably your DPS. There's this argument that's saying like every single time a brand new unit comes out, you have to replace the entire team, which is a little bit silly because your sustain slot is more or less fixed. If you have a sustain that can keep a team alive, whether it be a Luo Cha, Fu Xuan, Huan Huan, Ling Xia,
This is arguing a point that pretty much is common knowledge. Support and sustains, but mostly supports. If we were going to create a tier list on what character or what type of character is more safe than others, basically supports, characters that facilitate damage, are going to be more or less safe. Then, for example, if you want a really good example, Ting Yan. Yes, there are Harmony units that kind of do a little bit better of a job than Ting Yan, but Ting Yan has still been viable to this day. Then I would say right underneath that is sustains. And then at the bottom is DPSs. DPSs are so easily power crept due to the fact that what do you need to basically power creep a DPS? A newer DPS that can pump out bigger numbers. If the newer DPS is able to do more damage than your current DPS, that is going to be an easy power creep. The only thing barring is like elements and basically what type of damage they do. This is basically bringing up a topic that is well known.
One of my favorite gacha creators, Gacha Smack. I want to have you walk me through this 5,000 IQ stage of the 6-path strategy of avoiding power creep problem with only this income, right? Never mind free to play pass. So this argument mainly stems from nobody knows what the future is going to hold for Honkai Star Rail.
Yeah.
You don't know there's gonna be a super break. You don't know a Robin's come out. You don't know we don't know what's character is. What's our next? We don't know the future based on the current trajectory. At most, it's just the current patch plus the drip marketing for the next patch. That is pretty much it. So if we don't know, how can we prevent power creep? And frankly speaking, it is a very, very good point. It is a very, very good point. And most people will be like, fuck, he got me. But I am an instant. I am 20 steps ahead. I have charged my out 20 billion years old and I have accounted for this play, right? So the discussion about nobody knows the future and therefore you cannot prevent power creep is honestly very, very simple, right? This is a little bit like, okay, I'm gonna be a little bit of a finance bro here. This is a little bit like nobody knows what the hell the stock market is gonna do, right? If you guys watch Wolf of Wall Street, right, Matthew McConaughey, nobody knows if tomorrow the stock market is gonna go up, down, sideways, fucking spin in circles. Nobody knows. Nobody. You can only speculate what's coming out. And most for Honkai Starbucks, you know this, and that's it. Nobody knows what like the next 1 year, 2 years is gonna hold, right?
Okay.
When Robin was released, nobody knows that Sparkle is gonna get fucking shit on by Robin, and then subsequently later by Sunday. When Super Break came out, nobody knows that Silverwolf's quantum implant just became like completely fucking worthless. The thing is, you don't have to know.
Okay.
Isn't that beautiful? You don't have to know, and you can still not break your account. Why? Because as long as you're somebody that is not living paycheck to paycheck, you would have enough pools to get those strong units. Not being like prejudiced. Around 35% of the population in the world, they live paycheck to paycheck across all income levels. This technically doesn't have a lot to do with Honkai Star Rail, but it kind of brings about this similar point where if you are a player in Honkai Star Rail living from paycheck to paycheck in terms of free-to-play jades, you would not be able to predict what is going to be coming out. And even if you see what's coming out, you might not plan it because you are living from paycheck to paycheck without saving up and basically pulling for the shiniest thing that may not even benefit your account in the first place. And my point is this. Would you blame the market for suddenly releasing a brand new... Would you all in NVIDIA? Right? Let's just say you all in NVIDIA last week. You went all in with, right? Would you blame yourself for going all in NVIDIA last week and now NVIDIA is down 5%? Is that your fault? Or should you have just saved a little bit and not went all in to the point where you have no more liquidity so that you can buy a little bit more NVIDIA this week? Because there are people out there in the world that don't live paycheck to paycheck, right? They don't go all in on every single banner where they have no strategies left, and they can still save up a portion of their income, in this case their jades, to pull for whatever unit is going to come out, because they will have enough to pull anyways. So this is not really for every single player, but I will argue that majority of all these like casual waifu chasers that play gacha games, it will always be the case, right?
I agree with what he's saying here, that, and I even basically am going to say and go out on a limb and say, yeah, he kind of is right when it comes to his point that he's trying to make toward Gacha Smack. If you are not looking at any info when you are a light spender player, all you have to do is when that trial comes along, try out the character, see what the character does, and ask yourself, does this character present any kind of benefit to my account? If I am building myself up for a dot account
And Argenti comes along,
Argenti's not doing shit for me. So no, I'm going to try out Argenti, realize that he doesn't do anything for the account that I'm building, which is focused on Dot and probably a Sela team, talking early game that is, and saying, this doesn't help me. I'm going to skip Argenti.
and
That's what I would say, and this is a good argument toward Gacha Smack. But the thing is, this still doesn't prepare MrPokke for the argument that I'm going to make for him.
With that, I'm gonna come to my conclusion right now.
Okay.
In conclusion, power creep is a problem.
Okay, here we go.
It is a problem. Once again, for the 20,000 billion people that misunderstand, power creep is a problem.
Yeah,
Only if you allow it because of greed or stupidity. This entire conversation, this entire sentence, it wouldn't apply to you if you simply didn't care about meta, right? You simply didn't care about, clearing all the end game every single time with no
Fair.
effort whatsoever. It does
Fair.
not concern you if you are a casual player, casual waifu chaser that don't care about 3-starring endgame content. Yeah, pull for whoever the fuck you want to pull, right? Literally nobody is gonna bother you. And that
Yeah.
is a big portion of player base.
I agree. This argument only concerns people who that have interest in meta.
That simply do not care. This vocal minority, this angry mob that I see on Twitter nowadays, they are the people that not only are trying to be casual, they are casual in their waifu collecting, they are casual in their bank account, and they're casual in their gameplay. And after having casual in all three things, they still want to effortlessly clear 3-star content. So this video is addressing to all these people. At this point, how many quote retweets do I have? 358 quote retweets and 300 over comments, right? With at this point, almost 600,000 views. This is for those people. It is time to get a little bit of a reality check, right? Power creep exists, yes.
Okay.
Power creep is a problem that only exists if you were greedy or stupid. Fortunately or unfortunately, most gacha players, they are greedy or stupid. And most of the time, it's both, right? And people that felt that this take was wrong, that this oh my god, especially for people that didn't provide any valid form of discussion, they were simply offended by the truth. And that's really all there is to it. Because the truth does not care about your feelings. I still have yet to come across a single discussion where they could convince me to change my mind about this thing.
alrighty, that's where I am going to interject.
Now, if you guys
Recall my cheeseburger analogy.
even if it is silly, and I agree, I purposely made it silly.
It basically encapsulates the point that I am making, and this is the whole thing. And I
Trucked through this whole fucking video, and MrPokke just made arguments that were really obvious to me, but just danced around the central point that it seems to just flew over his head.
There's MrPokke right here. And here is MrPokke's argument.
And MrPokke's argument is pretty much Power creep, as he says, is a problem. It is made worse when you don't use your jades wisely based on the account that you have developed.
And that argument is true.
At face value, that argument is absolutely true. I agree with it. I 100%
Am on board with.
that statement. But here's where Pokke's argument breaks down.
Because he acknowledges that power creep is a problem and even uses things that I brought up in my Twitter post, the whole HP inflation thing. So the thing is 100% MrPokke did acknowledge that HP inflation is a problem and therefore power creep
Is a problem. But the thing is, MrPokke
misses the bigger point.
and it is a point that I didn't make in my Twitter post. It was a point that I was waiting.
To see if he would discuss.
And the thing is, in the MrPokke's
Literal whole hour and a half fucking video, he takes this argument and blames you, the player. He is saying that you,
are the problem.
the player, are the reason that you are experiencing power creep the way that you acknowledge it or complain about it. When, like I said in my analogy,
When you order your cheeseburger, you literally see the cook, the guy preparing the cheeseburger, put poison in your cheeseburger, and he knows that you watched him do it. You both literally are aware of what's going on, the cook and you, the customer, and he brings you the cheeseburger. It is then up to you to choose if you were going to bitch about it like any normal person would and probably call the cops, or eat it. And if you choose to eat the poisoned cheeseburger, then yes, you made a dumbass decision and you are going to suffer the consequences of eating that poisoned cheeseburger. So yes, there is some responsibility that you, the player, can do to mitigate the problem.
in this case, yes,
Like I said, you can spend your jades wisely to avoid, or at least mitigate, in this case, definitely mitigate the problem. But the thing is, and this is where MrPokke is completely missing the fucking point, is in my analogy, my dumbass analogy, at the end of the day, there's still a problem in that restaurant. There is a dude putting poison in the cheeseburgers. That's still a problem and it needs to be solved.
in this case, there is still a problem even if you, the player, are doing what you can to mitigate the issue. The problem still exists. The devs are creating the power creep issue. And who should MrPokke be pointing the finger at? The devs. Pokke should be taking his argument and pointing it toward the devs, because the devs are the ones
Creating the power creep.
by, in this case, creating HP inflation.
Therefore, you have that need to want to be able to output more damage. And when a new character comes along that can either buff your characters to do that damage, or it can just outright do that damage, then you're going to want to pull for that character.
But the thing is that what's going to happen, and
As we've seen in the past, based on looking at MOCs, they raise the HP up more, then, or just basically artificially tweak the MOC to benefit the newer characters. They usually do both. And so a new character comes out and then that character is super strong. But the thing is that they're strong. So what do the devs do? They inflate the HP again, put out a new character that can definitely tackle the current issues in the game. Therefore, creating FOMO, you want to pull for the new character. And if you skip that character, you're going to get left behind. Now, the thing is that you can again, mitigate these problems by over investing in your current roster of characters. That is true. But again, that gets back to my point. By over investing, you are putting a band-aid over a bullet wound. The problem still persists. The devs are going to continue to inflate HP and create an infinite cycle that basically is just a boiling pot of power creep. And MrPokke is blaming you, the players, for not doing a good enough job mitigating it, when he should be pointing his finger at, again, the devs for creating this problem and abusing this problem. That is the point that I have been waiting to make. I was set through all of MrPokke's video just to basically wait and see if he was going to come to that conclusion. He never did, and I knew he probably was not, and I was right.